This is WVUA 23 News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Sarah Macaluso. Jabari Pruitt has the night off. First at 10 tonight, we remember one man who touched many lives. Reverend Thomas Gilmore Sr. passed away on Sunday in Birmingham, and his funeral was held today in Greene County. WVUA 23's Yostina Banoob was at the funeral this afternoon and joins us live in the studio with more. Yostina?
Sarah, many people filled Greene County High School to pay their respects. Laughter and tears filled the room as family and friends shared memories of Gilmore. As the first black elected sheriff in Greene County, 74-year-old Thomas Gilmore was laid to rest today after passing earlier this week. Gilmore was known for wearing many hats. A pastor at First Baptist Church in Ensley and a civil rights activist were just some of his roles.
Once he caught the spirit of nonviolence, he carried that throughout his life.
Gilmore continued to practice nonviolence as sheriff of Greene County. He was well known as the sheriff without a gun, and with his strong leadership, a weapon would have only held him back.
He had moral authority. They knew he was in charge. It was not a matter of having to have a weapon in order to show that he was sheriff or he was in charge. His moral authority, and when he spoke, the things that he said made sense to people, and he was a master at calming situations.
He believed that he had the protection of God with him, so therefore he didn't need a gun. He thought that he could do this job without it.
Pastor Joe Webb knew Gilmore at a very young age. His influence on him and others spoke louder than words.
Everybody just gravitated to him, and they loved him dearly, the older people, the younger people, and he just knew everybody.
It wasn't a secret that Gilmore was a man of faith and always gave back to the community.
Every time he saw me, he always said, "Senator, you know, just maintain and steadfast and serve people." And so I think that we take away from him his service.
Reverend Gilmore leaves behind 5 sons and 1 daughter, along with a legacy. Reporting live in the studio, Yostina Banoob, WVUA 23 News.
Now let's get a first look at your forecast. Peter, will we see any cooler temperatures in the near future?
Sarah, the unfortunate futurecast for us is that we're going to be dealing with some more hot temperatures over the next several days, but we will be seeing the continued chance for some scattered storms out there. We hit 90 degrees earlier this afternoon before those storms came into Tuscaloosa and cooled things down a bit across the area. You can see under the SATRAD that we do have plenty of rain that came through, especially northern and western Alabama. As we go into the day tomorrow, that focus in terms of the shower activity will head toward the area south of I-20, but overall we are still looking at some scattered storms in the mix for us tomorrow, but the heat is still going to continue. High temperatures right back up into those lower 90s tomorrow afternoon. So warm, but keep that umbrella handy in case of a thunderstorm or two out there.
Thanks, Peter. Let's take a look at what's making news around Alabama. Police are investigating a shooting that left 1 man injured. Investigators say the shooting happened at around 12:30 yesterday afternoon. 37-year-old Vantella Malone says he was entering a friend's home when he heard the gunshots and felt blood running down his leg. He was taken to Athens Limestone Hospital and treated for a gunshot wound and later released. Closer to home, the Tuscaloosa Sheriff's Office is looking for a man accused of soliciting children yesterday morning. The Sheriff's Office received a call Friday morning about a suspicious white male in a white pickup truck engaging with children. Patrols were dispatched right away to find the potential suspect, but no arrests were made. Sheriff Ron Abernathy asks people in the Fosters and Rolfe communities to be on the lookout for the white pickup driven by a white male acting suspicious. Abernathy says they took reports like this very seriously.
We take this incredibly serious. Every single call that comes in, we'll send units out. We're going to do various investigative maneuvers that we have available to try to determine, because the children, of course, is our most precious commodity that we have out here as a whole, and we want to do everything we can do to ensure their safety, and we also want to use the assets that we have available.
Authorities ask anyone who witnesses this or any other suspicious behavior to contact the Tuscaloosa Sheriff's Office at 205-752-0616. The University of Alabama has set another record when it comes to sorority recruitment. 93% of the young women who registered for the fall recruitment at UA received bids from the 16 sororities on campus. The total number of women who registered increased by over 7%, and the ones that received bids grew by 10% this year. 214 of the women who accepted accepted bids were minorities. That's a 13% increase over last year. The number of African American students who got bids increased by 19% for a total of 25 women. Now the latest in Alabama legislature. Alabama nonprofit organizations are urging Governor Robert Bentley to veto a Senate bill that will come across his desk Monday. The Alabama legislature passed a bill today that requires nonprofits in the state who qualify for sales tax exempt status to report all such transactions to state regulators. Executive Director of the Tuscaloosa-based West Alabama A's Outreach says the added costs that would be needed to comply with the new regulations would take away from their ability to provide services to those in need.
Client services could certainly be hurt because we have the staff that we need to provide the services that we currently provide. Okay? We have the finances we need for the operating systems that we currently have. Any addition to that is going to, at some manner, take away from our client services.
If you'd like to get involved in local politics, here's your chance. Today, the Tuscaloosa County Democratic Party held their monthly meeting. They meet on the third Saturday of every month in the Tuscaloosa County Courthouse Annex building. Today, they met to set the qualifying dates for the 2016 Democratic primary. We spoke with the chairperson of the party about who they are and what they do.
We work to advocate for democratic principles and democratic issues, but really to promote what our vision of America is, which is where everyone has a fighting chance.
If you'd like to learn more about the Tuscaloosa County Democratic Party, visit their website at tuscaloosademocrats.org. Still ahead on the news at 10, it was a historic day in the Cuban capital as the U.S. raises its flag at the embassy for the first time in over 5 decades. And a SWAT team was called out to the New Orleans Walmart this morning. We'll bring you the details on what happened after the break. Stick around. In news around the nation tonight, a Walmart in New Orleans has reopened after a gunman entered the store and tried to rob it, leading to the store being evacuated. New Orleans police say the gunman entered the Walmart around 6 a.m. this morning. The store was evacuated and a SWAT team was called out to search the store for the suspect, but he was not found. No shots were fired and there were no injuries reported. A spokesperson for Walmart said the employees were back in the store by late morning and the store was reopened by midday. One man who was in the store was sure he saw a man enter with a gun.
Going up to the checkout counter, and I caught a glimpse of a gentleman walking in the store with a hoodie, and I noticed something in his hand that looked like a gun, and I'm sure it was a gun now.
A South Carolina community rallied Saturday looking for answers in the death of a 19-year-old shot and killed by police. People gathered in Seneca for a rally sponsored by Put Down the Guns, Now Young People, in the memory of Zachary Hammond. On July 26th, a police officer shot and killed the teen in the parking lot of a fast food restaurant. Police say the officer fired on Hammond after Hammond drove his car towards him. The Justice Department has opened a civil rights investigation into the shooting. The state is also investigating. A Tennessee community joined family, friends, and fellow members of the military in remembering the 5 victims of last month's shooting in Chattanooga. 4 Marines and a sailor were killed on July 16th when a gunman opened fire on a military recruiting center and a Navy operations support center. Today, a memorial service was held for them at the McKenzie Arena in Chattanooga. Vice President Joe Biden attended the service and thanked those who responded to the shootings that day.
I also know there's nothing at this moment that can fill that deep black hole, that open wound of losing your son, your husband, your brother, your father. Nothing can replace the son who, as he walked away and turned and smiled at you, lit up your life, literally lit up your life just smiling at you.
Secretary of State John Kerry returned to the U.S. from Cuba Friday evening after participating in a historic symbol of the thawing relations between the United States and Cuba. He left after overseeing the raising of the U.S. flag to officially reopen the U.S. Embassy in Havana. The embassy was closed in 1961 when the Eisenhower administration severed diplomatic ties with the government of Fidel Castro. Diplomatic relations were officially restored on July 20th of this year. With his visit, Kerry became the highest-ranking U.S. official to visit Cuba since Castro's 1959 revolution. Now let's get a check on our final weather, Peter.
We've got a couple more chances for rain as we go into the day tomorrow, especially in the afternoon and south of I-20. High temperatures back into the lower 90s for the day on Sunday. As we head into Monday in the first half of the work week, we see better chances for rain, especially throughout the morning and afternoon hours on Monday and Tuesday. High temperatures a little bit cooler thanks to the extra rain and cloud cover, only in the upper 80s then, but we'll be back to the 90s by later on next week.
Great. Looking forward to somewhat of the cooler temperatures at least.
That's right. A little bit cooler, but more rain.
Okay, sounds good. Well, that's our report for tonight. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the latest headlines on WVUA23.com. Have a great night.